Hello, my name is Robbie Fitzwater. I run Marketing Rhythm. We help e-commerce businesses with email and retention marketing. So one of the questions we get asked a lot is basically, hey, with all the email automations I'm working to build, all the things we're trying to do, that's a lot of projects going on. It's a lot of things to really manage and prioritize is, hey, how do I prioritize these if I'm going to make the biggest impact possible? And how should I even start that prioritization process? So we have a really helpful tool that we like to use to kind of start to unpack this and try and look at it really strategically from the lens of how do we start to again check these boxes so we can make sure that we're doing the right work first, and then also like I say probably too frequently, like let's not starve our stallions and feed our ponies. So let's make sure that we're driving revenue first, and then we can get to all the fun stuff after that. But it can be a little bit of a challenge. It can be a little bit of a mental struggle in some cases. So we want to make that a little bit easier for you. So we're going to show you behind the scenes and kind of like how we work to kind of unpack this process and how we go through actually a little bit more rigorous step-by-step process to prioritize and score these so we know that we're doing the right work first and making sure that we're doing these automations justice, but also generating revenue and getting these to a revenue positive place before we get to all the fun, like again, kind of wild and crazy email automation. So come take a look at what we do. Okay, so this is one of the tools we use. It's basically a prioritization matrix. Basically, what we use this for is we're able to give the automations we're going to be working to introduce a score based on the impact it's going to drive, or basically revenue it's going to drive, the control we have over the process and systems in introducing it. So, does it need a different plugin? Does it need a different app installed? Where are we getting the data from? Do we have access to that data, or do we need to collect that data from some other source? And then how much effort is going to be put into it. So basically, is this going to be moving heaven and earth, or is it going to be really simple and really easy? And that's how we start to really work to kind of like narrow this down, where we can really give these a nice score of which of these is going to be the most impactful for the business, which do we have control over, which could we knock out soonest or most efficiently. And then that gives us a clear roadmap of which ones we want to be placing our bets on first, where we want to be focusing our attention, and really as we're working to introduce these over months and years, we want to be really focusing on the right automations as opposed to the right automation. So for this is kind of a high level view. This is a list of a certain number of automations that we could be introducing for anybody. Like we have some clients who have like upwards of 25 running at any given time, even some that may have even more than that. But basically, if we're going to be introducing those, we want to prioritize the ones that are going to be driving the revenue we want to see. So in here, a birthday automation, again, it may not have the same financial impact as others do. It may be really easy to create, but again, if it's at a 6, we may not prioritize it at the same level we're going to do an 8. So basically, the higher the score, the more priority it has, and the faster we want to introduce that, because we're either going to see a business outcome coming from it, or it's going to help us move something else forward really quickly and really efficiently. So basically, the opportunities here, this would, if again, any group we'd work with, we go through this process and activity with, of most of these are the foundational automations we'd like to introduce based on, again, what we're focusing time and attention on, but these are kind of where we're spending a lot of our time. The welcome sequence, this is a crowd pleaser. Again, onboarding new customers for the first time is a really strong driver of revenue. So we want to be, we're probably going to be driving a good amount of revenue from that as we nurture them through that first purchase sequence. So let's give that a score of 3. The control we have over it, again, we are going to be introducing a snippet of code onto the site through a popover, where we're likely collecting that email. So mostly everything in our control, out of the gate. Klaviyo and Shopify integration is pretty smooth, pretty easy, and that's where, again, that may be a little bit more simple and straightforward. So let's give that a 3. This one, in a welcome sequence, we go into a lot of segmentation and a lot of different structures in our welcome sequences based on, again, who the audience is, what their use cases are. And we have some welcome sequences that are upwards of like 25 or 30 emails. So that's going to be a little bit heavier lift. Not going to be like, again, insurmountable, but that's going to be one of the stronger, heavier lifts of the automations we're going to introduce. So let's just say, for instance, let's give it a 2. So basically, if we add all those up, we get a score of 8. That's a really solid score. So again, that's going to be in that top list of priorities we want to be introducing which also is going to be working to get people into the top of our funnel. And some of this can be prioritized based on where people are coming into our funnel. Do we have a really great acquisition channel? Are people coming in through Google Shopping and then convert and then purchasing, and then we want to get them in the post-purchase sequence so we can onboard them? Or do we have a large list of subscribers that we want to engage through the browse abandon and bring back in? All those are things we need to be taking into account. So for a post-purchase, this is where we're trying to take somebody from purchasing a product to a loyal member of the brand community, somebody who really has a really strong affinity towards the business, brand, or group. And this is where we're trying to add value beyond the transaction through content, through basically this is how you get the most value out of the product you're purchasing. We always like to make those really strategic around what products they're actually going to be purchasing. So if they're purchasing a pair of boots, how do you clean and care for your boots? What do you do around these? Making sure you have the right product when you get there, making sure you break them in well or take care of them you need to. So those are all things we're going to be considering. So give it a score 3. Control, we have that data point coming from Shopify directly. So that's going to be a score of 3 because again, we have all the control we need with that Shopify Klaviyo integration. And the effort here, again, probably a heavier lift in terms of the amount of work put into it. So we're going to give that a 2. We do not have conditional formatting set up on these right now, but some of these we do. So we basically kind of get to prioritize all of these. So these 8s, these are going to be the first ones we introduce. After that, we're going to introduce the 7s. After that, we're introducing maybe a 6 and then go to the 5s. Again, this one, a review thank you. If somebody fills out a review from Stamped, we may thank them afterwards. It may not be the strongest revenue driver for us, but it's a really easy way for us to have a nice warm touch point afterwards. And then after that, we're sequencing these so we can drive the most revenue first. We may be introducing these in a sequence of, let's get the welcome sequence introduced in January. Let's introduce this in February. And then let's get the 8s out of the way. Let's get to move to the 7s. And then we can really give ourselves a nice roadmap for the year. And we like to add this just a check mark emoji when we finish something. So it makes it nice and visual. But all of these things are going to be incorporated into how we're looking at introducing these. And also another way we can split this up is if we wanted to score these a little bit differently too, we may add an extra column to incorporate revenue from if an individual team has insights into this. So we may add an extra column. So impact team perspective, where we would take the score out of 12 as opposed to 9. But those are all things that give us a way that we can really start to get strategic and really laser focused on introducing the right automations at the right time in the right sequence. So we're going to be maximizing the revenue we're driving. And also this applies to a lot of other areas of our marketing too. So it's just kind of a useful tool we like to use. And if you want to borrow this, there's a link to it here in the blog post. There's a link to it. We'll have a link to it here in our YouTube video. So for all intents and purposes, really a helpful tool and allowing us to make sure that we're prioritizing the right work at the right time and hopefully having some fun. So when we're building these out, we want to start with our most profitable automations. Like I mentioned, we typically start with our core automations. That's going to be kind of a list of automations we like to look at as touching each different stage of the customer journey, which really start to drive a good amount of revenue and really serve as kind of that good foundation to build off of, because we can do a lot from there, but these are the nice core that we're going to be working with. It's going to be the welcome sequence. It's grabbing people at the top of the funnel and hopefully nurturing them through to purchase. That browse abandon, that's going to be bringing them back in when they have a certain level of intent. The abandoned cart or abandoned checkout, that's going to be bringing them back in once they start an actual checkout and basically just on the edge of that conversion. So that's where we want to start to bring them back into the store. The thank you, this one sounds a little bit warm and fuzzy, a little bit woo-woo. Actually is one that drives a good amount of revenue, and if it's done well, is one of the stronger, again, brand touch points we like to do. Again, depending on your brand, your business, if we can have a thank you from the founder or from somebody who's really well connected with the business or known from the business, that's a really powerful touch point and really gives a nice human feel. Then the post-purchase sequence, that's going to be, again, after they make a purchase and really onboarding them to your brand. Really, that's where a lot of that foundation really starts to make sure they're going to get the best use out of their product. And then the win back. Win back is something we don't want to always get to. Sometimes this may drive more revenue for some brands than others, depending on your repurchase cycle, depending on what you're going to need to do to bring them back in. That win back is going to hopefully bring lapsed customers back into the store. And if we're not bringing them back in, we may even pull an incentive and may even incorporate a discount ladder to hopefully give them enough incentive to come back in, because we don't want to lose them. Let's be honest, nobody likes to lose customers. So that's going to be some of the more profitable email sequences that we're going to introduce, and we're going to be introducing those early. And then once we get into that point, we may start to add more, like the cart recovery, that's going to fit kind of in between that browse bin and that abandoned cart. We may add like a replenishment sequence if that product catalog incorporates a replenishable product into it. So it's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to be looking at, but we're really trying to align that with what's going to be best for the business, what's going to drive the most revenue, and then we're going to really prioritize those and the timing and ways that we think are going to be most impactful. And we also may introduce some that are specific to specific segments. Like if we have a wholesale program, we may incorporate a wholesale version of our welcome or a wholesale version of our post-purchase, or a onboarding sequence for subscribers. There's lots of things we can do here, but we want to start with the ones that are going to make the most revenue for your business, and that's where we really like to start with those 6 in terms of our core automations, and then go from there. So in introducing these, this is something that we like to do over the course of a long window of time and always be refining them, always be evolving them. As soon as we introduce the welcome sequence, we're testing it and evolving it. We're testing the subject line, the preview text, the content inside. Do we send from a person or from a brand? We're testing lots of different things to make sure that we're going to be doing the right things at the right times. And that's what's going to be really giving us a lot of great insights early. Like we talk about our email automations, our digital petri dish, where we can really have a lot of great experiments and learn a lot really quickly. So that's where we're looking at introducing those automations over time. Get into a monthly cadence, get into a rhythm where you're introducing those and again, approving them over time. And as you tweak and evolve them, they're going to get better and better. And you're going to have more and more insight into your customers that you can also incorporate into other areas of your marketing. So it's a really nice kind of like holistic framework. We like to think about this as like, hey, this is how our email marketing ecosystem is built. And then as time goes on too, if you have really winning campaigns, like in a post-purchase sequence, we like to incorporate a lot of content there. If you have campaigns that just crush it, you can incorporate those into places like that in there where they would fit contextually within that customer journey, so they make the biggest impact possible. So if you guys have questions, let us know. Again, have enjoyed talking about this stuff, but I'm Robbie Fitzwater with Marketing Rhythm, and we'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.